Have you ever felt a presence in an empty room? Or had a thought that didn't quite feel like your own? What if that feeling could pick up a pen and write a novel? Hello, listeners. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. In 1913, in a modest house in St. Louis, a woman named Pearl Curran sat with a Ouija board. She was, by her own account, an ordinary housewife with little formal education. As she and a friend rested their fingers on the planchette, it began to move with a startling purpose. It spelled out a name, Patienceworth. When asked who she was, the board replied, "I lived long ago. I would have me story told." And so began one of the most perplexing literary hauntings in history. Pearl Curran, the engineer's wife from St. Louis, became the conduit for Patienceworth, a purported 17th century English spirit. But this wasn't just spooky spelling. Soon, Pearl abandoned the board entirely. The words began to flow directly through her, in a torrent of automatic writing. She would enter a trance-like state, and entire chapters of prose and poetry would pour out, her hand struggling to keep pace with the dictation in her mind. What emerged was not gibberish. It was sophisticated, historically detailed literature. The first major work, The Sorry Tale, was a 300,000-word novel about the life of Christ, rich with descriptions of ancient Judea. It was followed by Hope Trueblood, a novel set in 19th century England, and dozens of poems and short stories, millions of words in total. Critics were baffled. The writing displayed a mastery of archaic English dialects, historical knowledge, and literary styles that seemed far beyond Pearl's capabilities. She had left school at 14. She owned no research library. Yet here she was, producing work that scholars admitted felt authentically of other times and places. The voice of Patienceworth herself was distinct. Through Pearl, she was witty, sharp-tongued, and fiercely independent. She spoke in a rustic, Anglo-Saxon-flavored dialect. When asked about her origins, she claimed she was a spinster from Dorsetshire who sailed to the American colonies in the 1600s and was killed in a Native American attack. But here's the fascinating catch. Despite decades of investigation, no historical record of a Patienceworth matching that description has ever been found. So what was really happening? The debate raged then, and it echoes now. Skeptics proposed that Pearl Curran was a latent literary genius, a subconscious savant. They suggested she possessed a rare form of cryptomnesia, where forgotten readings, perhaps from childhood, were synthesized and projected as a separate personality. It was an incredible, innate talent expressing itself through the psychologically convenient mask of a spirit. Others, of course, took Patienceworth at her word, that this was genuine communication from the other side, a soul using a living scribe to tell her stories. I find myself, as an engineer and a storyteller, stuck in the middle of these explanations. The rationalist in me leans toward the incredible power of the untapped human mind, but the part of me that loves a good mystery wonders. The consistency of the Patienceworth persona over 25 years, the sheer volume and quality of the work, it challenges easy dismissal. It makes me think about the source of all creativity. We say an idea came to us. We speak of characters taking on a life of their own. Perhaps Pearl Curran's experience is just an extreme, literalized version of that universal artistic process. A part of her mind, fragmented and personified, demanded to have its story told. She called that part Patienceworth. A novelist today might just call it inspiration. In the end, Pearl Curran gave us a profound question written in invisible ink. Where does a story truly begin? Is it in the neurons of the writer, or in some intangible archive of human experience, waiting for the right person to tune in? The manuscripts remain. The mystery endures. For the Unexplained Archive, I'm Ibnul J. Farabi. This podcast is a production of Light Knot Studios. Explore more stories at lightknotstudios.com.